Basically, once I started with the first video itself, I had a plan. The plan was to watch the videos to understand every single detail which was told in the video and incorporate it as my notes, my own notes. You should learn what is absolutely necessary for you. All the important topics, you be very confident about it. Get your concepts right. That is what is important. And as far as possible, relate what you learn with the cases you saw in your wards so that you retain them more. I felt I was able to attend all those questions very fast because I had my concepts clear. It all depends on how you pick up those points from those lengthy questions and relate it to what you have learned. Even during the last 1 week of my revision, I went back to Fihali. But once I went through the first 10 tabular columns, I closed the book. Okay, we know this already. Everything is covered there. So whichever you are not confident in, you can go and augment yourself and test yourself using the MCQs and tests. Okay, because they will tell you where you are weak. And the only things which you should go through in the last few days is the concepts which are difficult or those factual information which you have to memorize. Personally, I feel the first mock test which I wrote in Marrow Nephrology, I got really depressed. First thing which I tell will be glomerular diseases.
Obviously,
there is no going back. Glomerular diseases, it is very, very, very important. Lots and lots of questions from glomerular diseases, AKI in general, followed by CKD.
After a series of NISS interviews, delighted to be back here for the first of our NEET SS success stories. And for the first of the NEET SS success story, I have a very, very special person with me, and that is Praveen. I basically really don't know how to introduce Praveen because Praveen has achieved something which is huge. I don't know whether he has realized it himself. It's not just that Praveen has managed to score the topmost marks in nephrology, which every year somebody has to score the topmost marks. So that's not what I feel is unique. What is really unique about Praveen is the fact that Praveen has just kind of nailed this exam. In such a tough exam where even nephrologists themselves feel that he may not be able to answer 90% of the questions, he has got a score of 352 on 400, which is not a mean feat. It is enormous amount of marks, and I think that is where I think Praveen actually differentiates himself. So welcoming to the show, Praveenkumar Natarajan from Erode. He's very, very proud to actually tell you that he's MBBS from our own Stanley Medical College. So once a Stanley and always a Stanley. And then 2011 batch. In 2018 batch, he's PG from world famous Madras Medical College in Chennai. That is the hub of nephrology. And he comes from Tamil Nadu, which is supposedly the most happening state as far as nephrology is concerned. Done both his courses from Chennai, which is probably the biggest place that you can think about in nephrology, where the grades of the subject from the times of Amaresan sir to Muthu Sethupathi sir to now Gopalakrishnan sir, Edwin Fernando sir, so many big names. And I'm so glad to actually welcome him to the show and also welcome him to the world of nephrology. So welcoming you, Praveen, that's just awesome. I wouldn't actually say honor or anything, but it's just an awesome thing to make me feel that somebody from Chennai, that's obviously very, very special. And more than that, you have just about scored 90 out of 100 questions correct in a paper which is full of people who have written the paper. No, it's like ambiguous questions themselves are there more than 20, 25. So you have just got the right chord with NATBoard. Whatever is NATBoard's answer, your answers are also same. So welcome to the show, Praveen.
Thank you so much, sir, for the kind introduction. Thank you.
So I think we'll just start off with that. So Praveen is actually somebody who is in touch with me. So Praveen has made a call to me, I think 4 or 5 months back, when he discussed about a lot of things we did discuss about how he went about with this course and what he wants to do in future, the subject that he wants to take up and all those things. I think that is the point from where he really started preparing. So I'll just put the question to Praveen. You just tell me what happened then, what were the positives that you got out of that conversation, and then from then on, how did you make a plan and how did you execute the plan?
Okay, sir, to put it in a nutshell, I remember the call which I made to you by September, that is after my results are out, and I really wanted to pursue with super speciality. So like everyone else, finishing MBBS and then MD, which is supposed to be the most wanted field ever and the most interesting field ever. So after completing MD, I basically had a thought that MD is a very interesting field where whether I should stop with MD and continue my practice throughout, because there is always a joy of diagnosing people. It is more of puzzle solving and all this stuff. So I thought, okay, I should stop with MD and pursue my career. But after that, a lot of conversations happened, after which I really thought that okay, specialty is something which at present day scenario is obviously needed. So at that time I was really confused because I really had a fear of missing out on various specialties if I choose one. So that is one particular thing which I was really afraid of, and whether I lose touch with general medicine as well. So that is when I thought, okay, I'll call Rakesh sir and ask his opinion on that. And I remember I spoke a lot of things with you, and after your conversation with you, I realized that nephrology and rheumatology, which are the two subjects which I attended for NEET SS, are something which will always have some touch with general medicine. So that is the point when I realized, okay, nephro and rheumatology are two subjects which I should pursue further. And looking back at my MD days, I realized that the things which I have done from my first year till my final year, the various competitions or whatever I have attended, they had natural inclination towards nephrology. So basically, I had an inherent inclination towards nephrology, and based on your suggestion as well, I thought, okay, nephrology is something which I had to do. So that is when I started the preparation, and yeah, that is how everything started.
Started going. Actually, with due respect to the nephrologists in Chennai, I always feel that they tend to hype up nephrology a bit more than the other subjects. Because going to Chennai from Kerala as an MBBS student, I was under the impression that if you are most brainy, you must become a neurologist, etc. Because cardiology and neurology are hyped up a little more here. Nobody was like hyping up nephrology. But once I went to Chennai, that is where you had a feeling that yes, nephrology is the subject to go. Nephrology is mass, nephrology is ultimate, nephrology is very level. So that is the feeling that at least I got. And I think Edwin sir was the person who was responsible for me getting that kind of a feeling. And nephrology has always got a special place in Chennai Medical Colleges. Anybody who has studied in Chennai Medical Colleges, MD, in Stanley or MMC, would definitely have that natural inclination for nephrology. It goes without saying. Because nephrology is one specialty posting or one specialty subject wherein you get a feeling that, okay, you are learning things more scientifically. The base that you have studied in medicine, maybe you have diagnosed a patient with nephrotic syndrome in medicine based on all these hypoalbuminemia and edema and cholesterol. But what happens to that patient in reality is what you see from nephrology. How they rule out secondary causes, how they do a biopsy, what happens when they get a biopsy result, how they change their treatment regimes in a scientific fashion. And that is when you start getting inclined towards the subject. So obviously, having done your course from Chennai, from Madras Medical College, is the biggest hub for nephrology in the whole country. I think it goes without saying that you are going to have an interest in nephrology. But with this short period, so you made this call in September, exam was in January, so you had actually speaking only very little time. So how did you plan your preparation, and what was your initial plan? Could you stick to the plan? And for somebody who is planning to give the exam, say in 6 months' time, suppose the pattern is the same, how would you actually go about it?
Okay, sir, like you said, when I decided on the specialty and started my preparation, it was like 4 months for the
Yeah.
exams, and in between there was problems regarding the pattern and stuff, and the exam
Yeah.
got postponed also. So basically, 4 months is what I had, and I had two subjects in hand. So I thought,
Yeah.
okay, nephrology is the first one to go, and followed by rheumatology. That is the second one.
Yeah.
So I like looking in front of me, there are a lot of options, lot to study, like so
Yeah.
many things are there. But then I thought, okay, let us start with something, let us stick to one thing. Okay, that is when I started using Marrow. So I subscribed to Marrow, started watching the videos. But when I looked at nephrology videos, I saw like there are around 60 hours or maybe more of
Yeah.
nephrology videos were there. So what I basically did was, okay, so we have these many hours of videos to watch. So what we can do is we can split it according to a daily schedule. So I plan for just 4 hours of video per day, because watching video 4 hours means it is total watching the video, whereas you have to take notes of it as well.
Yeah.
So that will obviously take a little more time. So I just kept it as 4 hours of watching videos followed by notes, which actually took 2 more hours. Surprisingly, it took 2 more hours. So it is basically like 6 hours per day. So that is how I planned, and it was like 15 to 20 days for watching all the videos. So that is how I went about. But most of the plans we do, we'll have some kind of
Oops, yeah.
problems which are coming in between. So it took like more than 20 days. But at the end, I was able to finish it off. So the same happened for rheumatology also. Surprisingly, rheumatology videos are also your videos.
Yeah.
So again, I did the same strategy for rheumatology as well. But yeah, paying more importance to nephrology, because that was my first subject. So
Right.
that is how I planned, and that is how it went.
So first time when you finished reading the videos with your notes, like were you confident that you had enough grip, or you wanted to go back and watch it again, or you were forgetting things, or you had enough grip at the end of one round watching? What is your feeling after finishing watching the videos once?
Okay, so basically, once I started with the first video itself, I had a plan. The plan was to watch the videos to understand every single detail which was told in the video and incorporate it as my notes, my own notes.
Okay.
So that is the plan with the first round of watching the videos. And I planned, okay, once I watch the videos and make good notes of it, then don't go back to the videos again. So your note should be in such a way that, yeah, you have to incorporate all the points which are said in the videos, all the concepts which are explained in the videos without any ambiguity into your notes. And while making notes itself, you will know, okay, we heard this information in the previous module or anything like that. If it happens like that, incorporate it then and there. So that is how it went in the first reading. After which I just went back to the notes and kept on revising them and practicing questions, and it proceeded.
That's it. Fine. So what about like so many people, especially who are preparing for years together? That's what we've been telling again and again. All these success stories that I have been doing, most of these guys are 2012 MBBS or 2011 MBBS. Majority are actually 2012 MBBS. We get queries from people who are from 2006, 7 MBBS or keeping on writing the exam again and again, who unfortunately are not able to compete with these guys who are just faster. If you look at the total volume that those people have studied, they have studied almost 5 to 10 times more than what you people have studied. But primarily, what I feel is it's not in the volume. That means you can read as many books as you want. Theory is also there, Brenner is also there, Schreier is also there. You can read whatever you want. But ultimately, to actually translate it into a performance and score the marks that are required for the exam, I think it's a different skill altogether. I think that is where you have made the difference. My question to you is, you have watched the video, made notes, and then you have read the notes, all those things. Sitting in the exam hall, because this is your primary source of preparation, and I don't think you have read any standard nephrology textbook or anything. So this is your source of preparation. What do you feel sitting in the exam hall, approaching the paper with this much knowledge in mind? What did you feel? Was it optimum? Was it sufficient? Was it more than sufficient? Or maybe I should have known this, that, etc. What was your feeling?
Okay, so basically, to start with the first thing which you said, like people who are preparing for a long period of time, I had a basic concept that we are preparing for SS exam, which is at the entry level of the specialty.
Exactly.
So we should accept the fact that we should know something at the entry level, not similar to a final year nephrology PG appearing
Correct.
for the exams.
Yes.
So
Yes.
you should learn what is absolutely necessary for you. All the important topics, you be very confident about it. Get your concepts right.
Yeah.
That is what is important. And as far as possible, relate what you learn with the cases you saw in your wards so that you retain them more.
Yes.
So based on this, I'll tell you how my experience was at the examination hall. Yeah, at the examination hall, basically attending the first few questions, it was like going very fast. It was literally very fast. Okay, this question, this is the answer. This is the answer. It went like that for the first 20 questions. I felt I was able to attend all those questions very fast because I had my concepts clear. So that is the most important thing. More than factual knowledge, I think, especially in this NEET examination, it was more of conceptual.
Yes.
Like you have lengthy questions. The questions were so lengthy. So it
Yes.
all depends on how you pick up those points from those lengthy questions and relate it to what you have learned.
Exactly.
So to do that in a short span of time, your concept should be so clear. There should be no ambiguity. So it's not like the number of facts which you learn. It is about
Yes.
how well you are learning a single fact,
Yes.
how confident you are in the single fact. So that is what I felt. I was able to confidently attend. I was able to rule out the options because I know, okay, for this is not the answer. I
Yes.
was very confident about that. So ruling out one by one, you obviously finally land up in the most probable answer. And when your concepts are also good, you know, okay, this must be the answer. You will get that intuition of
Exactly.
what it will be.
Yes.
So yeah, so getting your concepts clear, I had my concepts clear. I had my notes, which are actually without any ambiguity. So it was kind of okay with the
Very good.
examinations.
Did you ever feel that, okay, do I have to read the textbook? Because I'll tell you frankly, what most people do is they will do exactly what you said in the beginning. They will watch the video, they will make the notes, and they will finish one round reading. Then what they generally do is they'll feel that, okay, videos we have seen, now let us read Fihali's textbook, because Fihali is supposed to be the textbook for the entrance exam. So
Yes.
then they will start Fihali, and then next 1.5 months, what they will do is they will read Fihali. Okay, then they will add these points to the notes. Finally, they may not get enough time to revise. They will once more revise everything in like juggled fashion. They'll go and write the exam, and sometimes they may not get the desired result. So many people have this feeling, and many times we are having a temptation to read the textbook. Everybody has, because from school we are reading textbook. How did you get over this temptation?
So that fear was always there, because when I asked any of my friends who were preparing for nephrology, they were like, okay, I am reading Fihali. So
Yes.
that fear was always there. But then I trusted it. Okay, first we'll go through the videos. We'll get our concepts clear.
So that is something which I am openly telling on this platform. I basically, it's not a big statement or anything. I maybe know Fihali better than Fihali himself, because Fihali himself wouldn't have read this textbook so many times as I have read. So right from MD times, I don't know how many times I have read this textbook again for preparation, this, that, etc. That my videos, you may miss something, but you will never miss a point that is there in Fihali. Because what I know in nephrology is essentially what is basically written in Fihali. I have not read Brenner cover to cover or Schreier cover to cover or anything. So I have just referred them once in a while. But one book which I can say very confidently that I know best, if you ask me which is the medical book that I know best in medicine, all the subjects taken together, I will tell you that it is Fihali. So basically, I keep on telling students that please don't waste time reading again, because if you start reading Fihali, then it is a huge exercise, because it's not a small book. You have to read so many chapters. So that is the confidence probably that you can actually give them, and I'm very happy for that.
Yeah, sir. So basically, I have read Fihali here and there during my MD times. Okay, I said I have attended few competitions which demanded that I should read Fihali. So I have read few parts here and there. But then once I was done with the videos, even during the last 1 week of my revision, I went back to Fihali so that I can check just at least the tables, tabular columns which are there. But once I went through the first 10 tabular columns, I closed the book. Okay, we know this already. Everything is covered there.
Yeah.
So that was how it was. Even I took one of the rare glomerular diseases. There was a module like that, rare glomerular diseases. So I was like, okay, rare glomerular diseases, let us go and check. I checked it and it was there. Everything was there. I was like, okay, fine.
Okay.
So
what about general nephrology things? Obviously, we learned during our medicine times, and we have an idea on that. What is your approach to learning dialysis and transplant, which are basically difficult at MD level? When I prepared for the entrance, the tough part of it was always dialysis, because we really didn't know how it happened at that point. So how did you prepare dialysis and transplant? Were you able to grasp everything in the video, or you felt like how did you actually go about with that?
Okay, sir. So to answer this question, to start with, during our MD times, we read Harrison. So Harrison is supposed to be the Bible of MD. So Harrison, it covers general nephrology in a good way. So basically, so most of us would have read general nephrology. So that was my base. I had good notes of Harrison as well as my base notes.
Okay.
But once I started, I said I started my preparation from September. Once I started the videos, the first module which I started with was transplant. Okay. Because as MD graduates, the out of the three pillars of nephrology which you used to tell, general nephrology, transplant, and dialysis, the one part which we are less exposed to as MD postgraduates is transplant. Yeah. So I thought, okay, first let us start with transplant, because learning something new will always give you the enthusiasm to go ahead. So that is what I felt. So I started with transplant videos, and it started with immunology basically. So immunology is supposed to be one of the tough parts to learn, but yeah, learning it and completing it gives a sense of achievement itself. Yes. So once I completed transplant and I tried to remember it, it was very difficult because it was totally new. So what I did with transplant was, after completing videos and taking notes of it, I read everything once again. So when I read it for the second time, it was so beautifully given that, okay, this is done for transplant. No need to learn something more. Don't go to any textbooks. You have your concepts clear. That's all. So that is how I started. So I started with transplantation, and then I went to dialysis. Okay. So that is when I realized, okay, we don't know a lot of things in dialysis as well. So I got my concepts very clear, and I think you have covered almost everything in the modules. Transplant and dialysis, I think you need not go and sort out for any other sources. So
because once again, generally for our entrance exams, when I was preparing, we had to read Dogirdas. Dogirdas was supposedly the book to go for dialysis, and Danovich also we had to refer for transplant. So that is what I have basically studied, and that is what I have actually studied. But once we do this nephrology course, we present a lot of topics. So what happens is every time somebody presents, this PowerPoint is basically with us. So we have this huge collection of PowerPoints which are from where students are prepared, and everything will be like a big source of knowledge. Once you just go through those PowerPoints itself, you get everything that is there, including all the recent studies, including everything. So I think my classes are more or less based on those presentations that we have had in the department. So those presentations which I've had in the department are so complete in themselves that I feel that you can answer almost all the questions. Okay, so that's all great. So your preparation strategy is very simple. What I understand is that you are a person who does everything systematically. Here also you made a plan. Systematically you approached it. You understood that this is enough. And then after studying that, your concepts were very clear. And you try to apply those concepts for the exam. So it's a very simple strategy that you have, not very complicated strategy or anything. Now my question is, majority people who are watching this video are right now in a state of serious confusion because they know that the next exam is coming in June, and it is being said that for the next exam right now there may be cases and debates later on. At least now that 150 questions are going to be asked, and those 150 questions are going to be PG exit level. Okay, so they have just mentioned it as PG exit level. If you were starting to prepare now, you have all these sources, everything is there. Just forget that you got rank 1. If you were starting to prepare now with the next exam in June and knowing that 150 questions will come from PG exit level medicine, what would you have done and what is your advice?
Okay, since this debate has started a long, like few months back, right? So this debate on the next PG exam have been, announced few months back. So people who are preparing now, they are mostly people who are doing their final year MD, and those who have missed out this time.
Missed out.
So what I would suggest for those people who are studying for their final exams now is just don't worry too much. Just study like how you usually study for your exams, make good notes. At the same time, try attending multiple choice questions meanwhile.
Yeah.
So, and try to get, try to correlate. The main thing is, I understood from this NEET is it is going to be purely clinical based.
Yeah.
So, try to incorporate what you learned in your ward along with what you learned in the books with a good platform which supports you. So basically you have to just augment what you read for your final year examinations, nothing more. The thing is, it's not too, don't get too panicked, okay? Because as you said, sir, it is PG exit level, not even a specialty entry level. So it is PG exit level. So it is going to be simple. Don't confuse too much. Just keep practicing. I feel like practicing MCQ questions is a way of getting the facts right into your head. So if you read a fact from your notes like 100 times, you may remember. But if you see that fact as an MCQ even once, you will remember for a long time. So I'll ask them to work out more of MCQ questions. If I were there, I'll be doing that. So work out more of MCQ questions and augment those chapters which are less informative from Harrison with the platform. Yeah, you can see the videos from the platforms which you feel it is not enough in Harrison. You can go and refer to the platform because it is totally voluminous. So you can't expect to go through everything once again. So fear of missing out, and if you go through reading everything, it is going to be a problem once again. So whichever you are not confident in, you can go and augment yourself and test yourself using the MCQs and tests. Okay, because they will tell you where you are weak. So you can obviously go there and get yourself augmented more. So that is how my strategy will be. Obviously, the time frame and things, it will be more, but this is the basic strategy.
What about like your feeling about, people who are preparing nephrology are generally strong in nephro, they're strong in rheumatology, they're strong in immunology part and all that. Most of the time, their issue is with learning pulmo, cardiac, neuro. These are the subjects which I feel people are preparing for nephrology are generally weak at. So what about these big subjects? How would you actually tell them to, should they go back and read again, or should they make a strategy for these? Because you get a lot of questions in the medicine paper, as you would have seen. Some of the medicine paper questions were not easy also. So what would be their strategy for those subjects, which are not directly connected to nephrology?
Yeah, sir, based on this NEET SS examination, if we expect questions next year also, then we have to be very careful, because in the general medicine part, many questions from few specialties, especially like neurology, it can be answered only by people who were preparing for neurology.
Yes.
Because those few questions were not even given in Harrison. Okay, it is more of the management part of some AV fistula, or even in-depth management of stroke, a lot of scoring systems which are actually not given in Harrison. So it was like that. But I suppose the next year it might not be the case, because if it is a PG exit level, they will obviously have Harrison as the base.
Yes.
So even if they go out of Harrison, it is not going to be too much of questions outside Harrison.
Yeah, true.
So
Yeah,
what
so that should be
is
okay.
given in what is given in Harrison, that will be asked in a more of a clinical way.
Yeah.
So
Right.
that is how it is going to be. It is expected to be. So in that case, few specialties carry a lot of weightage. Like cardiology, you have endocrinology, nephrology, rheumatology, and neurology. So these specialties carry a lot of importance. Basically, we cover all those 4 subjects for our clinical examination as well during your final year exam. So basically, you just have to augment, especially valvular heart disease and all. During this examination, it was kind of difficult, the questions which came from general medicine. So more of questions from valvular heart disease and more in-depth questions. But you have to be clear with every single point which is given in Harrison. There should be no ambiguity. So no need to go apart from Harrison, but what is given in Harrison, you have to be very, very, very clear, because there will be some line in some bottom right corner of Harrison which can be asked as a question.
Okay. So like, from when did you actually start reading Harrison, and how was your Harrison preparation strategy during your MD times? How many, how long did you take to actually finish Harrison, and did you actually like prepare it full out and out before your final year theory exams?
Sir, basically it is like every other medicine PG who slogs hard in first year of MD without even seeing where he has kept his Harrison. It was like that, because a lot of work you don't get to read. But from second year, obviously, if we say we don't get time to read, then the fault is definitely ours, because we will get time. We will get time, and especially when we start our clinical rotations in all the specialities, we get 1 month solid for each specialty, which is more than enough to complete what is given in Harrison. So obviously you will get enough time, just that you have to channelize your time in the right way, because slogging hard in first year, coming to second year, a lot of free times, don't spend it in other ways. Or you maybe spend it in other ways, and keep your studies as the other 50%. So even if we spend 50% of our free time, we can complete. So that is what I feel. So what I did was, when I went to my clinical rotations, whatever case I saw in the specialty wards, I tried to go through Harrison. Not in the specialty books, just Harrison. So I made sure I went through Harrison. So at the end of second year, clinical specialties were a bit covered. And coming back into final year, where the only job which we have is to read and get ready for the exams. There I started with other important specialties like endocrinology, rheumatology, hematology, and all that stuff. So obviously third year you get a lot of time once again, but more time will be spent on your clinical examination and all those stuff. But still you will have time to revise. You will have time to complete Harrison at least once and revise it once, if you channelize your time properly.
And many times students have this confusion regarding preparation during the last 15 days prior to the exam. So if I am giving you the last 15 days prior to the exam, suppose it is like the pattern that you have written, what you have done, and suppose it is only a medicine paper PG exit level, what would be the plan for the last 15 days? Because that is when people think that whatever they study stays in their head. So whatever we study before that, there is a chance that we can forget. So the 2 weeks leading up to the exam is considered as a very crucial phase. So what have you done, and how would you advise?
Okay, so basically last minute preparation should be confined to only those factual information. What I feel is like that, because all your concepts you should be clear a lot prior to your exams. So the concept should be so clear, and the only things which you should go through in the last few days is the concepts which are difficult, or those factual information which you have to memorize. Like there are few factual information, there are no other go. You have to remember the chromosome, remember the gene, chromosome number. So there is no going back on that. You just have to memorize them. You can just make notes of them in a separate thing. I used to do that right from my NEET PG preparation. I used to do that. All those factual information, write it in a separate notebook, so that in the final few days, you can revise them slowly. It is more of factual information. That is how I proceed, and write a lot of mock tests. Lot of mock tests. Yeah, I did all my mock tests during the last few days of my preparation because
And
yeah,
that
I kept on.
did means many people who give mock tests have this feeling that suppose you score poorly in the mock test, then that affects your confidence going up to the exam. So they just refrain themselves from giving mock tests in the last week or so. So what is your opinion on that? I have not given any mock test or anything, so I'm not anybody to answer
Sir,
that.
personally, I feel the first mock test which I wrote in Marrow Nephrology, I got really depressed. I was like, I have read this much,
Yeah,
I have
yeah,
read this much, and why am I scoring this low? That is what I felt. It was on
yes,
it was on a higher level. It was a little tough,
yeah,
but at the time, I just completed my preparation once,
okay,
and my revision once, so I felt it was not enough. But
yeah,
once you keep revising it again and again and again, obviously you will score better with the next
yeah,
examination. Obviously, sir, if you score less in the examination, that too a first mock test after you complete the entire thing, it is going to be bad. But then the graph always grows, so you need not worry about your first or second mock test. Definitely the graph grows in a
okay,
positive way once you keep
that's fine.
revising. So it's nothing to be afraid of.
Fair enough. And as with most of the students, they ask this question. Nephrology is so vast, but if I'm asking you to pick up the most important topics, what would you actually tell us? These are the must-watch things or the must-know things. Rest of the things you can even take time. But after having written the exam, your feeling is these are the most important things that a nephrology aspirant should know. Means what would be the topics that you would pick up and tell me? The most
The
important
first,
topics.
the first thing which I tell will be glomerular diseases. Okay, there
Obviously,
is no
yes,
going back. Glomerular diseases, it is very, very, very important. Lots and lots
yeah,
of questions from glomerular diseases, AKI in
yes.
general, followed by CKD.
Okay, these are the three
So,
most important things. As
sir,
with the last meet, even if you skip dialysis and transplant and go also, there wouldn't be so much of harm because the number of
yeah,
questions are already.
I feel for this examination, there are very little number of questions asked from dialysis and transplant, but we are not sure whether it will be asked next time or not. But
Yeah.
obviously, I'll tell them, please do read transplant and dialysis because it definitely gives you the confidence. Like you know
Yes.
something which many people don't know. So that
Don't.
confidence will help you with the preparation of general nephrology as well.
Yes.
So we need
And
not
I
skip that,
always,
but
without knowing basics of dialysis and transplant, if you enter as a first year PG, then it is doomed. Because by the time you understand what this is, then half the course would have been completed. So basic understanding in dialysis and transplant will hold you in such good stead going into the course. Because going into the course, nobody's going to come to you and spoon feed you and tell you that this is the machine, how to operate on the machine, these are the parts, etc. Nobody's going to tell you. So at least if you know that beforehand and go inside, you can write a dialysis prescription by yourself. That will actually make you very happy and make you very proud. So basically, for that at least, irrespective of whether the questions come or not, it is imperative that once you have chosen nephrology as your career, you should not be actually kind of having any preferences. You should be knowing basic. But as he said, and that's what we've been repeating 10,000 times, as far as the entrance goes, it is glomerulus, glomerulus, glomerulus. Okay, without knowing glomerulus, knowing everything else in nephrology, and still you will not even qualify for the entrance. So essentially, that is what. And you have also been, I think, awarded a prize for writing an essay competition in nephrology. That is the Venkateswara Institute of Medical Science competition. So where you have written an article on mineral bone disease and CKD. So that is when you were a postgraduate student. So at that
yeah, I
point,
was.
how did you actually manage to write that? What were the references? So what was your feeling towards nephrology at that point, and how was the whole process?
Yeah, as I said, sir, there are a few hints which suggested me I'm more inclined towards nephrology. That is one of that. Okay, because
Okay.
most of the quizzes, most of the conferences I attended are more oriented towards nephrology. And yeah,
Yes.
this CKD and mineral bone disease which I wrote, I had my base as Fihali once again.
Okay.
So I had my base as Fihali and a little of Brenner and more of journals about the
Okay.
recent things. Yeah, and more of the journals. So, and it took almost 10 days to write that essay.
Yes.
So
Very
it
good.
was a good experience. Like,
Yeah.
at the time I thought, okay, if you go deep into a subject, it is actually interesting. Okay.
Yes.
Few
Exactly.
facts which we just read just like that, they have a reason behind that. That is how
Yes.
I felt. Okay, only when you go deep inside a subject, you get the clarity.
Yes.
So that
Exactly.
is how it
And that
was.
is the whole
This
purpose
was
behind you, me, and everybody studying nephrology. The whole purpose behind each one of us studying nephrology is to just become more scientific. That's what I feel. The more you study nephrology better, the more scientific a doctor you become. That means you learn to see things very scientifically. That means a disease, you look into the natural history, you know this is the 5 year survival rate, you know this is the data, you talk with respect to data. Before going and becoming a nephrologist, we start talking things like a layman, or generally like we say, this is okay, this is bad, good, etc. Now we start talking with respect to numbers. when you start talking with respect to numbers, you know that your bar is essentially going up. And that is how I think a good nephrologist should be. And this was a wonderful discussion, Praveen. I think Praveen is somebody who I don't know whether others can emulate or not, because your methodology is so systematic and it is like so much on the button, and you have actually executed it so well. When most of the people are, I think, from inside, they don't have so much clarity as you. I'm not talking about nephrology clarity, but about executing a strategy. So when you are not as clear as you, then when we are not as clear as you, then probably what happens is we may go some side, we may go that side. You have just got one plan, you have executed that plan to perfection. That's brilliant. And I think you'll be mostly continuing with your course in Chennai only. So that's going to be great, either at MMC with Gopalakrishnan sir or Stanley with Edwin Fernandez. So both are going to be like tremendously good experiences. So once again, wonderful, wonderful talking to you. And before signing up, I just want you to give your last words of advice to these students, maybe nephrology or otherwise, as how you go on with this phase, because many people consider this to be a very stressful phase, but you have actually looked at it with a lot of enjoyment. And for the knowledge of the viewers, let me tell you that he was in US from November. Most of the videos that he has watched is not from India, it is from US. He has not even written the INI-SS exam, so that actually tells us that he's not like too much on this. Okay, so just like let me take us through that also.
Yeah, sir, it is actually right. Yeah, I felt one important thing which made me prepare, better, I say, is taking pressure off me. Yeah, it was not like, okay, you have to crack this, you have to crack this. There was no pressure like that. It was like more of learning more, and learning more. And that is how I got my concepts clear. It is not like, okay, preparing for an examination, you have to crack NEET SS or INI-SS. It was not like that. It was more of a learning experience. And yeah, learning is obviously fun, right? So that is how I learned through all the, went through all the modules and stuff without any pressure. So not having pressure actually helped a lot.
Yes.
So yeah, most of the videos I watched when I was abroad, and yeah, I couldn't write NEET-SS because of that. But yeah, the point, you have to balance your family,
Yeah,
you have to balance
exactly,
your
exactly. And
exams
that is
as well.
what. So I think this whole discussion, I'm signing off on the same note that Praveen has said. To get an MD seat is a necessity. Okay, that is an absolute necessity after your MBBS, be it medicine or pediatrics or surgery or whatever. It is an absolute necessity. But DM is not a necessity. It is a choice. So there is a lot of difference between a necessity and a choice. So you are doing DM, that is your choice. It is your subject that you are actually taking up as your career, which you want to do all the time. Which means that you should have 100% conviction yourself as to why you should enter into that particular subject when you have the option of entering into other subjects or not entering itself. So when you are entering into a subject with that level of conviction, then obviously there is nothing that is holding you back from becoming successful in that subject. And I think wishing Praveen all the very best for his 3 years in nephrology at MMC or Stanley or wherever he plans to take. And it was wonderful, wonderful talking to you, man. And I once again repeat, it's not just that Praveen got ranked 1 or he's actually got a top score. What is very special is that in such a tough exam, he has got 90% of the questions right, which is just awesome. Okay, so on that note, signing off, and thank you, Praveen. Thank you once again.
Thank you so much, sir. Before ending this, I just wanted to personally thank you for your guidance. And most of the videos, general medicine, it is you, nephrology, it is you, and I also wrote rheumatology, which is you. And thanks to you once again. Rheumatology, I will probably get 25 to 30. Probably.
Yeah.
Thanks to you for that as well. And to all those preparing, just take the pressure off yourself. All the people who are watching this, take pressure off yourself. The pressure of cracking exams. Just learn more, and that will definitely help you crack the examinations. So all the best to all those watching this video, and thanks to you and Team Marrow as well.